Okay, so artificial intelligence. It feels like it's everywhere, right? It's all over our news feeds, it's popping up in our workplaces. But when you get past all the headlines and the hype, what is AI really? Well, today we're going to cut through all that noise and get to a real, solid understanding of this technology. Let's start by separating the Hollywood fantasy from our actual everyday reality.
Right, first things first, we have got to talk about the difference between the AI you see in the movies and the AI we use every day. See, the AI in sci-fi is built for drama, but the AI we're actually using, it's designed for very specific, practical jobs. So, let me ask you a question. What could your spell checker, your Netflix queue, and, a world-dominating sci-fi robot possibly have in common? The answer kind of gets to the heart of our whole conversation today. AI is already a huge part of our daily lives, and a lot of the time we don't even notice it. And this, right here, is where all the confusion comes from. On one side, you've got the movie version, sentient, emotional, sometimes kinda evil AI. But on the other side, you have the real-world AI that's doing things like recognizing patterns, making recommendations, and generating text. And the most important thing to get is that the AI we have today can't think or feel or get angry like a person can. It's a tool, not a character. So what is it then? Well, here's a pretty great, simple definition. AI is basically any system that can do tasks that would normally need a human's intelligence. Things like recognizing your face in a photo, understanding what you're saying, or figuring out the fastest way to get somewhere. It's all about simulating human intelligence to do a specific job.
So how do these things actually work? To really get modern AI, we have to pop the hood and look at the engine that's driving it all. And the big secret? It's not about being told exactly what to do. It's about learning how to do it.
This is where the game really changed. You can think of old-school programming like a really strict recipe. It just follows a bunch of rigid, if this, then that rules. If the temperature is below 0, then turn on the heater. Simple. But machine learning, it's completely different. It's more like a chef who learns to cook, not by following just one recipe, but by tasting thousands and thousands of dishes and starting to recognize the patterns of what makes food taste good. It learns from experience.
Now, this recent AI explosion we're seeing, it didn't just happen out of nowhere. It's because three really powerful things all came together at the perfect time. You've got these incredibly clever algorithms, those are the brains. Then you have massive, and I mean massive, amounts of data, that's the fuel. And finally, the incredible computing power to actually run it all.
And all of that brings us to the real engine of modern AI, machine learning. It's a part of AI where systems aren't just programmed, they are trained. They learn from data to spot patterns and make their own decisions, and they get better and better over time without some human having to go in and rewrite the code for every little new thing.
So what does that learning actually look like? Well, it's a pretty simple cycle, really. First, the system just gobbles up a ton of data. We're talking millions of pictures or articles. Second, it starts to find patterns in all that data. Third, it uses those patterns to make a guess or a prediction. And fourth, and this is the magic part, it gets feedback on whether it was right or wrong. And it uses that feedback to get better for the next time.
Okay, so what does this ability to learn from data actually mean for us, in our jobs, in our lives? It means AI is changing from being just a simple tool that follows orders into a powerful collaborator. And listen, it's super important to know the difference between AI and just plain old automation. Automation is great for repetitive stuff, rule-based tasks. Think of a robot on an assembly line doing the exact same weld over and over. But AI is adaptive. It can deal with messy, complex problems because it's all about learning and making decisions, not just being efficient.
So how does this collaboration actually look? Well, AI is already helping us in three major ways. It's amplifying our brain power, helping scientists do things like discover new medicines way faster. It's interacting with us. Think of chatbots that handle simple questions so that we can focus on the really tough problems. And it's even extending our physical abilities with things like robotic exoskeletons.
There's actually a name for this idea: collaborative intelligence. And the goal here isn't to replace people, it's about partnership. AI is amazing at sifting through mountains of data and finding patterns humans would miss. But we humans provide the crucial stuff: the context, the judgment, the creativity. And together, we can do way more than either of us could on our own.
But, and this is a really big but, we absolutely have to remember that AI is not a magic wand. It's an incredibly powerful tool for sure, but it has very real limits and very real risks that we need to understand.
This quote here from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, it really nails it. It says that without the right guardrails in place, AI can actually take existing problems and make them much, much worse. It's a powerful amplifier for both the good and the bad.
So what are some of those big challenges we're dealing with right now? Well, 4 of the biggest are bias that gets baked right into the algorithms, AI hallucinating and just confidently making things up, a total lack of what we'd call common sense, and of course, huge questions around privacy and copyright. Let me give you a perfect real-world example of that bias. A few years ago, Amazon built an AI tool to help with recruiting. It trained it on 10 years of its own resumes. But because most of those resumes came from men, the AI taught itself that male candidates were just better. It actually started penalizing resumes that had the word women's in them. They had to scrap the whole thing. It's a classic case of biased data in, biased results out.
And then you've got this really weird thing called hallucinations. This is when an AI just invents something. It spits out completely wrong information, but it says it with total confidence, like it's a fact. And the wildest part is, this isn't really a bug. It's just a natural result of how it works. It's always just trying to predict the next most likely word, which is why you have to always fact-check anything an AI gives you.
So why do these problems like bias keep happening? Well, this number gives us a pretty big clue. 20%. That's the percentage of AI engineers who are women, and only 4% are black. When the teams building these world-changing systems don't reflect the world itself, it's so much easier for these biases to slip through, totally undetected.
Understanding what AI can do and what it can't do, that's the first huge step toward using it wisely. So what does all of this mean for you? And how can you get ready for a future where AI is an even bigger part of how we all work and live?
And this is not some far-off question. The data shows that about 2/3 of us are already using generative AI at work. So staying ahead of the curve doesn't mean you have to become a coder. It means you need to become AI literate.
And what is AI literacy? It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's being able to understand the basics of AI, use it well, keep an eye on how it's performing, and, this is the most important part, to think critically about what it's telling you and the impact it's having.
You can break it down into 3 simple pillars. First, just know and understand the basics, a lot of what we've talked about today. Second, start to use and apply AI tools to help you with your own work. And third, learn to evaluate these AI systems, question their answers, and think about the quality and the ethics of what they produce.
You know, at the end of the day, arguing about whether AI is truly intelligent kind of misses the whole point. The real question is about us. It's about how wisely and how responsibly we choose to build and use these incredible tools. So here's a little challenge for you. Sometime this week, try to identify one process at your job that uses AI and just start a conversation about it with a coworker. Because becoming AI literate doesn't start with lines of code, it starts with being curious.